Animate, audacious, and attentive, a young, ambitious girl belonging to a negligible village in Nigeria walked boldly to school with a young boy. With blazing curiosity in her eyes and invincible determination in her soul, she summoned courage to ask the boy, "Would you marry a woman who had a bigger career than you?" The boy looked at her with certainty and responded, "I would never marry a woman who had a bigger career simply because she would dominate me and my role as a man will adrift." Would you believe me if I said that this wasn't just a few lines from a fabricated story or fiction novel? This is reality. Unfortunately, I have to proclaim that this anecdote alludes to the stereotypical mindset of many boys and men today. The mindset which prevents the growth of many nations. The mindset which cages many dreams. And the mindset which holds captive the liberty of many girls and women. Ladies and gentlemen, adjudicators, and fellow competitors, my name is Bernitta Ohaa, and I stand before you today with great excitement to address an undeniable truth which laments men and boys need to play a larger part in fighting for gender equality for women. Let us all close our eyes and imagine a world where the empowerment of women was boundless. Imagine a world where the concept equal was not casually misinterpreted for identical. Imagine a world where both men and women insisted that equal rights on a piece of paper is simply not enough, and that we must tackle gender inequality that exists in our minds. Why aren't we living in that world? It is simply based on the fact that gender equality is not a woman's issue. No. It is a societal issue. It affects us all. Throughout history, gender equality has been painted in a negative light. It has been seen as an issue that only involved women. But how, in the 21st century, when we have eradicated many deadly diseases, we have fought against starvation in many countries, and we have achieved the rights of many people of different ethnicities, but we are yet to resolve gender equality? We as moral beings have failed to teach our boys and our men that gender equality will not lead to reverse discrimination, but lead to the growth of our society, our nation, and our planet. In a recent survey carried out by Johns Hopkins University, participants were asked to rate applicants for a laboratory manager position. However, in each condition, the application was randomly assigned as either belonging to John or Jennifer, who both had identical qualifications. Unbelievably, 76% of male participants rated John as more hireable than Jennifer, based solely on gender. Even male children at a tender age showed this gender bias. One study carried out by BuzzFeed asked male children to guess whether a really smart protagonist was either a man or a woman. Between the age of 6 to 10, 95% of male children believed that the protagonist was male. Many people ask, why should we fight for gender equality for women? The answer to this question is simple. We cannot fully empower girls and women without engaging men. When both genders collaborate to diligently fight gender inequality, a positive transformation in our society will be witnessed. Businesses will flourish, and recession rates will decline. Intolerance will dwindle, and reconciliation will be attained. Ultimately, violence and vandalism will diminish, and peace will be obtained. Despite these alluring benefits, why are countless of men still opposing this cause? Unfortunately, the reason is entrenched between the traditions and customs left behind by our ancestors. When men and boys hear about gender equality, a lot of them may think, well, it is fair, it is ethical, and it is just. However, this is not always the case. When other boys and men hear about gender equality, they vigorously oppose this measure. They see gender equality as a tool that will oppress and demolish the masculinity. They continue to preserve the stereotypical views about gender roles. So the fundamental question is, how can we, as activists, encourage men to participate and play a larger part in fighting for equal rights for women? The first step in which we must take in encouraging men and boys to play a larger part in fighting for equal rights for women is simply to inform them about the true meaning of gender equality. In this way, by educating men and vigorously fighting against this ignorance, men can be encouraged to partake in this cause. We must work towards changing the biases regarding gender. Just like the young boy in the beginning of the speech, by just changing his unconscious bias, he will learn and appreciate the importance of gender equality. Secondly, a constructive way for men to play a larger part in fighting gender inequality for women is through sharing domestic work and childcare. Expanding the roles of men within childcare requires removing the institutional and cultural barriers that currently make it difficult for men to act as supportive fathers, and promoting policies and practices such as paternity leave. Scientific studies carried out by WHO shows that if men engage in domestic work and childcare, the children will do better in school. Their absenteeism rate will decrease, there will be higher rates of achievement, and the child will be less likely to be diagnosed with ADHD. This increases the resilience and flexibility of families. In conclusion, the younger generation will be happier and more able for the modern world. In perspective, gender equality is a win-win situation. Gender equality increases freedom since it gives individuals the liberty to choose their right path, rather than limit them to a subset of activities based appropriate for the gender. Lastly, men can effectively engage in fighting for gender equality for women by simply speaking up against gender-based violence, speaking up against child marriages, and speaking up against female gender mutilation. Fellow human rights activists, if we can invent radiation, if we can construct rockets into space, and if we can split the atom, we can definitely tackle gender inequality with both men and boys involved. We have great challenges ahead of us to engage men in fighting for this cause. However, we can do it together, so let all of us take action. Ladies and gentlemen, reflecting back to the beginning of the speech, when the girl asked the boy the alluring question, his response should be, I will be honored to have a woman who had a bigger career than me. We need to teach our boys and men to change segregation into solidarity, bias into balance, and injustice into integrity. We cannot, I repeat, we cannot fully empower women without men and boys involved. Just like Malala says, we cannot all succeed when half of us are held back. So if men are part of the problem, they must be part of the solution. Thank you all for listening.